I'm starting the live stream. It's giving me some trouble. Okay, live's up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Concordia University's fourth space. Thank you for joining us for the next installment in our ongoing series, taking a closer look behind closed doors and into spaces you might not otherwise get to see at Concordia. Today's event, we're taking a closer look at the Access in the Making Lab. Before we begin, to help situate you, we are streaming to YouTube live from Fourth Space, and we are located here on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. At Fourth Space, we work with our university community to help mobilize knowledge. We co-create daily activities and events such as this one that examine research questions, projects, things in development across the university. We're running this event live off-site, so just beware. There may be some connectivity issues, things like that, but that's part of the fun. So please stick around with us as we connect and show you around. Those of you joining us by Zoom, if you have any questions or comments, pop those out into the chat, and I'll do my best to bring them in. And those of you here in the space, just let us know, raise your hand, we'll bring a microphone over to you. But now, it's my pleasure to introduce the AIM Lab coordinator and our tour guide for right now, Prakash Krishnan. Prakash, thanks for this. Hello. Okay, we're entering the doors here.
So welcome. This is the Access in the Making Lab, also referred to as AIM Lab. We are here in the Department of Communication Studies at Concordia's Loyola campus. We're a group of about 10 or so artists, researchers, community members who do work around the large themes of critical disability studies and media technology. This lab is funded by the Canada Research Chair of Critical Disability Studies and Media Technologies, Wesley Nogumaji, as well as we've received support for from the Canada Foundation for Innovation, which allows us to have this very nice space.
Amazing. And where are we located, Prakash? We're on. There we go.
Pardon me?
Where are we located?
Oh, so we're here in the Loyola campus in the CJ building, which is the building
Okay.
that is Communication Studies and Journalism. We are here on the first floor of the building. If you come down the ramp entrance, it's like a straight shoot down the hallway beside the book stop. And so here right now we're inside of the maker space. There are three main areas of the lab. So this is one of them where we have a bunch of like maker supplies. So there's like a sewing machine. There are different like textile things, crochet. We have a vinyl cutter here. Soon in this empty space, we'll have some 3D printers that are just awaiting shipment. So this is like the area in which there's much of hands-on projects. And it's like ventilated for soldering, printing, this kind of things. And we have our fabric wall and stuff in storage. And then here in our main space, we have a couple of different sections. What you see here on the back wall, this custom pegboard installation. This is our communication board where we display messages to the public. So right now we have Ecologies of Access, which is the title of the residency that we're very thankfully being hosted by Fourth Space this week. As well as we have different little knickknacks and things that speak to the diverse practices being held at AIM, artworks done by some of our members, and everything that's like located beneath in the cabinets houses our different media equipment. So AIM members have access to different kinds of tools. The things are in the makerspace, but also some cameras and computer equipment for different kinds of audio-visual projects.
And what makes this space different than like a regular depot where other students would like, pick up those multimedia, that multimedia equipment?
Yeah, so the AIM like space as well as its equipment are really like reserved for AIM members. So to become an AIM member, it's like an invitation-based process. Right now, most of the members are being supervised directly by Arsili Dogumaji. However, there are some of us who are not, who usually arrive at the lab with external funding, either from grants or other sources. However, we do have an affiliate membership where people who are interested in AIM to come to our events, maybe borrow equipment, host things here. It's possible. Just go to our website, which is accessinthemaking.ca, and there you can find the membership form, which is in our manifesto. Fill that out, we'll get an email, and then we'll be in touch.
Would you be able to show us what you have in cabinets for electronics that
Yeah.
students can borrow?
This also opens like by swipe. And so for instance, down here we have different kind of recording kits. So this is like Zoom F6. So if ever you're doing like field recording, this is something you could borrow. And so in these kits we'll have everything you need. So the bag with the F6, spare batteries, memory cards. So we have a couple different kinds of recorders. We also have camcorders, DSLRs. Part of the ethos of the lab is to find more accessible ways to do artistic and media production. So something that we use that's pretty cool for filmmaking is making audio with cell phones. So for instance, this here is a mobile gimbal. So you would attach your phone into this one, like that.
We at Force Space are very familiar with technical difficulties. Take your
It
time.
never works when you want it to, gosh. There we go.
So for instance, like with the magnetic clip, your phone can go here, and then using the Digi app, you can like navigate all the different settings with the buttons here on the side. So for instance, if like holding on to a DSLR is like not available to you for whatever reason, this is like I think for some people it might be an easier way.
Yeah.
One-handed. There's another mount that you can use to attach it say, to like the arm of a wheelchair. So if you wanted to do like a walking interview in a wheelchair, like that could be possible. So basically, for as much as possible with all of our equipment, it was all curated with accessibility in mind, and thinking about how different people with different abilities, different bodies, will have like different approaches to media making, as well as that like not everyone will like come with a professional background in filmmaking, for instance, but that doesn't mean
Yes.
that filmmaking shouldn't be it shouldn't be off limits to people who want to experiment in these other media forms. And so a lot of the equipment we have too is more entry level or like mid level. So people who are interested in doing like a larger scale production, we probably would refer them to like the Depot or to like CUTV or another like Concordia resource that has more of that kind of like professional stock.
That makes sense. Prakash, I don't know if you can hear me right. Just from here. Okay. I was just like, I know because from the website, but also knowing a little bit about the lab, that it's important that it's, it's not understood as access, like an access service provider or a public co-working space, that it's really about creating a different kind of space. Could you maybe sort of speak to that?
Yeah, so it really is like a research lab as much as you might think of like other kinds of like labs, like like a chemistry lab or something, where we are here to like do experiments, we're here
Yes.
to do research and like study, and engage in like different kinds of subject matter using various like humanities-based like research methods and approaches. So so kind of like like most chemistry labs, you wouldn't just like necessarily think you can walk in and start experimenting.
Of
So we
course.
have like we have like different sets of protocols to follow.
I know that the development of those protocols is one of the key productions or things that the lab produces?
Yeah, so one of our big like research like inquiries is to think about how to like in the realities of an institution, like work in a way that remains as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. How to also like empower students, researchers, and people who might like be like non-traditional researchers, like a lot of us are in the like student pipeline at different levels. However, there are like a lot of us who are at AIM who are like off that track. And I think part
Okay.
of our work is to sort of like decentralize like where knowledge is produced or how knowledge is produced or by whom. And so this like takes form in different kinds of like more like qualitative approaches to research. So through like art making, through like workshops, through discussions, ethnographic research. Um, yeah, we like come together from lots of different perspectives to produce these collectively. And we also have a focus that's more so decentering like a Euro-American centrist like approach to thinking about like disability, like the concept of disability often is like so Americanized, and so as Canadians we sort of just like pull a lot of American written theory or like Western Eurocentric theory, and so a lot of our projects engage with communities in the global South or in the global majority, where most people live with the least amount of resources. And so I think that too sort of like differently frames how we do our work compared to perhaps other centers.
And there are multiple different ways of participating in the lab. I've noticed that there are residents, researchers in residence, as well as affiliates. Is that? Can you maybe speak to that a little bit?
Yes, we have like a three-tiered membership situation at AIM. So we have the members of the steering committee. So these are people
Yes.
who, by and large, like are like the founding members of AIM who are currently or were recently being supervised by Dr. R.C. Dogumaji. Then we have our residents. These are people who come to undergo like specific projects. So for instance, we've had like postdoctoral fellows come and like do specific projects at AIM that had a very like precise kind of like they had a very precise role in their function at AIM, and they're not necessarily there to like do decision making. And then we have affiliates. So these are people who have kind of like a longer duration of membership at AIM, who are part of the Concordia community, either graduate students or staff or faculty. And so they're like invited to events, to participate, to borrow equipment, these kinds of things. And like I mentioned, the membership form is available on our website if that's something that you're interested in. Not only the use of the space, but also engaging in work, creative work that explores disability and accessibility in various ways. And so the affiliates don't have like the swipe card like I use to get and access materials.
Okay.
However, they are like welcome to still come and use the space under like certain constraints and under like invitation for events. Then we also have like people who are friends of AIM, which is an emerging category that we're developing that looks at more like institutional partners, like between like AIM and other centers of research that might be at Concordia or elsewhere. Right now, like a big part of our work is to like build good relations, with our memberships and with our communities. And so, even though we're kind of like a small group now, where we wanted to build our capacity like with intention and making sure that we're able to like engage in really good relations. So this like, friendship in the making is like something that we're like developing to make sure that we have a protocol in place to be able to like maintain relations and not just have it just be on paper.
Absolutely. And the space itself, I know that's one of the things we're here today to kind of see inside the actual lab. But the lab itself was constructed with this kind of wider idea of accessibility or what accessibility, kind of questioning that. Could you maybe speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, I think often in terms of like institutionally, like thinking about access, we think about universal access, can,
Yes.
because some with the wheelchair enter, and that's such a, I think we find that to be a very kind of like unimaginative starting point. So of course, as you saw, we have like the automatic entry. Same thing. We, we have this nice big push bar to exit, and the doors open automatically. That's kind of a very like rudimentary first approach to access. However, like really everything in the space was designed with accessibility in mind. So for instance, like the floor is slightly different from the floor you'll see elsewhere in the university. And it's made with like a material that has a little bit of like more of a bounce. That way, if someone were to, let's say, like have a fall, they would be like less impacted or less injured by that fall. You'll see the same kind of flooring used in like schools or kindergartens. Also, by and large, the furniture is mobile, so you'll see like these chairs and this table are on wheels. So this table likely can be moved as necessary. Sometimes it might be an ideal setup if there are like multiple people using those chairs. Table also can be raised or lowered depending on people's preferences and what they're working on. So say if you need to be standing while working, the table like does this, right? And you can do it that way. However, if you're seated like quite low, that's also possible. Same thing even with the cabinetry, like everything was chosen to have a high color contrast. So typically the university doesn't like build like white cabinets, but it was important because we needed to have very clear indications of like where the handles are, to be able to like pull out the cabinets. Even things like this, like we have our compost, you can see my coffee from this morning. It's like nicely hidden in these spaces in order to have keep the floor space free of obstruction as much as possible. And again, I think too, like in our design of the space, accessibility, I think wasn't only limited to like entry, but also thinking about how like access should also be inviting and how there can be like an aesthetics of accessibility that's not so like sterile, like a hospital. So they're not here now, but we also have a big kind of like garden, quite a large selection of plants. We brought them in for the summertime when there was less activity, so we'll be back soon, but usually there's like quite a bit of greenery also here in the space. We also have our little kitchenettes. Because food is also an access need, like we need to have like food and drinks in order to sustain ourselves and our working ability. So typically for meetings and events, we also always have a lot of food available, coffee, tea, water, other drinks. We also have these kinds of pull-out surfaces, so that way, say if you're seated in a wheelchair, you have extra access to like cabinet space to prepare your meals. We also have those also available the big cabinets. Then in our last room we have here is our big meeting room. And so this is like a large modular space that we're able to host meetings, classes, etc. So we have this big TV to show presentations. There is a microphone in the ceiling such that anyone in the room can talk and be heard. An important point about AIM is that as much as possible, all of our events, projects, and things are presented in a way that's hybrid, so people are able to like join our meetings from anywhere. And so a big part of our curation of the equipment that's used in these rooms are to find ways to have hybrid meetings as kind of like a central point. And so the webcam tool will like follow you in the room. So say if I'm speaking, it uses, I'm assuming some kind of like artificial intelligence to find the speaker and follow them along. That way you're also not sort of restricted to sitting at the table, but I can come move around, I can come work on this whiteboard. Maybe I'm missing my portrait here, but you know, I could draw myself or someone could draw.
Where is Prakash on that board?
I know, petition to have me on here. I myself, even though I'm physically a lot of artwork, I'm not the best drawer, so I'll leave that to somebody else. But yeah, even these curtains are here for visual privacy. So say The room is fairly soundproof. However, if there are people who are in the room and say they're like signing, and they want to still have like privacy, the curtains close via remote. That way, we have a sort of like parallel accessibility, or like a parallel experience. That way, like, is not only hearing people who have privacy in the room, but also people who sign. So there are lots of these different like hidden features of access that are like part of the construction of the AIM lab that might not be like super obvious at first glance, but really like everything was thought with a lot of like precision to really think about what could critical access look like in a way that is both like functional but also like inviting and cozy and yeah, a place where people want to come spend their time.
Gosh, thank you for this tour.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I know that the next step now is to begin packing up some things and moving down here to fourth space for the residency happening this week, Ecologies of Access, Disability and Arts in the Anthropocene. So I won't keep you any longer, but thank you very much for showing us around here. I'm just going to give us a little outro, and then we'll begin doing our installation here in fourth space, and welcome everyone to come down for the rest of the week. Bye, Prakash. Thank you. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us for today's closer look inside the Access in the Making lab. We're going to be closing up the Zoom and the live stream now, but just a quick reminder that this conversation this tour remains available on our YouTube channel if you'd like to revisit or share it. And don't forget to join us down here in the space for Ecologies of Access this week at Fourth Space. Thank you.